Hey everybody, Jimmy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a full ETF breakdown. We're going to talk gold, crude oil, and natural gas. I'm going to talk about the daily charts, the weekly charts, and then break it down into some faster time frames like the 5-minute and the 1-minute, just to show what's going on today, where potential entry points and exit points would be, and then also just talk a little bit about the profit margin. Was it worth the trade, or should you have waited for something a little better? So let's dive in. So why don't we start off with natural gas today? I've got /NG up on the chart, and this is the daily time frame. And let's just kind of take a peek. Let's zoom way out. We can see those cold winter months here, and then we had a drop off, and we've sort of been selling off into the summer months, which I think we would all say is pretty expected because we're not burning as much gas this time of year to heat our homes. If I zoom in a little closer, you can see that we're sort of riding what is on my chart the 50 simple moving average, which is this red line. So every time it comes up and touches, it seems like it then sells off. So if we mark that out real quick, let's just take a look. So you get kind of a bump there, another one in here. All these are pretty consistent. So every time we get a bump in that area and then break down below, we tend to go a little bit lower and set a slightly lower low. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that as we're looking through these charts. Let's also take a peek at the weekly chart. I just want to see. So you can see the bubbles I drew. Not necessarily following anything in particular, but a couple touches on the 20 simple moving average. So we can take note of that. You can see recently we had a pullback, a bump into the 20, and now we're going a little bit lower. So likelihood, maybe we're going to break down below this low of 2.15. So it wouldn't be crazy or unheard of for natural gas to push down below this level. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. So let's jump into the 5-minute chart on natural gas, specifically for today, and let's see what it's doing. So you can see the open or the beginning of the day here. Let me just open that up. So and let's actually load a different study set here. So we've got the VWAP on here and also have the 180-day simple moving average. So at about 3 a.m., maybe 3:30, we bumped here and we started to trend back to the upside. Then we sold off really hard, and then going into the open, and I actually checked this morning when I was getting ready for the market open. I was just looking to see what natural gas was doing, and I did see this nice push back up into this purple line here, which is the middle VWAP. Then we got a rejection off of it, and I had thought, a break of this low right here, this low of 2.305, would have been a good opportunity to go to the short side, meaning that you would take a look at the inverse ETF, which is DGAZ. So as it pushed down, it bounced back up, but it did come back down, bounced back up, and you can see that it's clearly setting up a little bit of a level here that could be significant moving forward for the rest of the day. So if I draw that line in here, you can see that it's touched it on multiple occasions. And it may hold the rest of the day. So if you get, coming into this area and looking at DGAZ down to this line is a pretty good way to go. And if we flip over to DGAZ, let's take a look at that. So yeah, anytime that you're kind of in this level here, and you can mark a line off here if you'd like to make it easier to see, but anytime you're in that area, you can buy it and then sell it as it peaks out. Now it's selling off a little short. It's not necessarily going to the upper VWAP band, so you got to be a little careful with this. It seems like DGAZ is in sort of a tight little range here. It's not doing a whole lot. It's corkscrewing a little bit. So it might actually be a good one to avoid today. It's not looking super active. It's really basing out right at this sort of 2.30 levels. So just be careful of that today on natural gas. Doesn't seem like a big trader, doesn't seem like one that we'd probably want to get involved with today. If you did, you'd want to take it from the middle VWAP about 60–70% of the way to the lower VWAP band. I'd get out quick, take profits early, and don't expect any big moves out of this one today. So let's move on from that. Let's take a look and let's see what gold's doing today. And let's just start like we always do. Let's go to the daily time frame. Oh yes, I saw this one this morning. This was really interesting. So you can see gold on the daily time frame has really had a nice push up, and then it pulled back, and it's sort of been setting this higher low scenario and got a pop, and now it's pulling back down again. So this trend line right here has sort of been holding for gold. So I don't know what it's going to do today, but if we start to go higher tomorrow and break the highs of this candle, which the high here would be 1431.40, if we break that level, this could potentially break and set new highs for gold. So it's kind of an interesting setup. If we go to the 5-minute chart and we look at gold this morning, you can see that right as we rolled over into the new day, we started to uptrend a little bit, pulled back to the middle VWAP, and then we sort of broke up. So it declared an uptrend between the middle and upper VWAP around 5 a.m. So you could have watched that to step its way up, but it wasn't really giving you a good pullback. It was really riding nice and close here on the moving average until about 8:40 when it started to sell off, and now you can see it did not show a bounce. It blew right through. So if I were trading gold right now, I would wait for this to pull back a little bit closer to the middle VWAP, and then I would go ahead and get in at the break of that candle that pulled back. And the break would be that you want to get in on would be on JDST, is kind of the one I prefer to look at. So if this gives you a nice pullback, then when it starts to go higher, the break of that low candle would be a great place to enter. But that looks really interesting right now. It's really, really selling off. Now it did tap right here on the 180-day moving average. So that is a potential support level. So it could bounce here and go. So a safer play might be once it pulls back, when we go lower, look for a break of the candle, that was the pullback candle, as well as a break of the 180-day moving average. And then you can see if you can get gold to go to the lower VWAP. That would maybe be my play on gold right now at 9:35 in the morning, 11:35 on the East Coast. But really interesting activity. This seems way more active to me than natural gas. So I would leave natural gas alone today, and I'd be looking at gold just because of this activity that's happening right now, and because it was showing a nice strong uptrend this morning. So from there, let's flip over and let's check out the final futures we're going to look at, which is light sweet crude oil /CL. And this one, let's see what it's been doing. And let's go to our daily time frame just to get our bias. The reason I like to look at the daily time frame is because it gives me an idea of, if I have a daily time frame that's showing a downtrend, it's more likely that a position to the short side, meaning buying the inverse ETF, is typically more likely to work if you're in a downtrend. Now it's the opposite for an uptrend. If a stock is uptrending, you want to be long that stock, and you would use the corresponding ETF. So in this case, you would use UWT if we were going long, and DWT if you were going short. Now you can see on this daily time frame, we are showing a 180-day moving average that's moving down from the left to the right. So technically showing some lower highs and lower lows. Now, I would call this a downtrend right now, and you can see we're kind of getting hung up right here with a few dojis right at the 180-day. So if this breaks these levels right in here, I would say definitely we're going to go lower before we find a bottom and come back up. So bias on /CL right now is to the short side, which would make me more likely to go buy DWT, the inverse ETF. So let's flip over to the 5-minute chart real quick and see what it did this morning. So we opened up, we bounced around, sort of showing some sideways consolidation, and then sold off really hard. Then as we crept back up, it broke above, tested. Some people might have got caught in this thinking we were going long, and then it turned over and dropped again. So you can see right here, this is actually kind of exciting. It's sold off, has pushed back up, put in this doji with this huge upper wick showing selling pressure. And I would say that if you get a break back below this moving average, this could be a good stock to potentially go to the short side, meaning we would look over at DWT. So with DWT, if we get a break of this candle and a push back above this moving average, this could be a really good potential 1 solid percent back to the upper VWAP band. And if you go back to the highs from before, could be a little over, like maybe 1.07 or 1.1. So pretty decent return or profit potential on that one to keep an eye on. Let's flip back over to the chart and see what it's doing. Yeah, it's sort of pushing back up, but it's getting rejected, you can see, by the 180-day moving average. So I would just keep an eye on this, and if you start to get a breakdown below the lows of these candles and below this moving average, which is the 20 simple moving average, this might be okay to go ahead and head to the downside. And I apologize, this is not the 20, this is the 15 exponential moving average. I apologize for that. Okay, now we're getting a push up. So just keep a close eye on this. If this gets rejected and shows a big upper wick, and then we get the breakdown, this could be a good time to get long on DWT over here, the inverse ETF for crude oil. Yeah, this is looking really good there. So if you were to get, yeah, it could be really interesting. But yeah, looking at definitely over 1% if in fact the pattern holds up. So that's kind of the breakdown on gold, natural gas, and crude oil, just looking at some of the weekly, daily charts, just talking about what it's doing today, how to maybe put the probabilities in your favor by knowing, is it downtrending or is it uptrending on the larger time frames like the weekly and the daily. If I look at the weekly on this one, you can see that we're also, we've been downtrending. You can see the 180-day moving average is showing a downtrend, but recently it sort of bounced off of it and has tested it a couple times. So looking at the weekly chart on crude oil, if this holds out and creates a higher low, we could be looking at a sort of a reversal pattern moving forward. So keep an eye on that. And I'm going to break down and look at the daily one more time. Yeah, same thing here. If we start to get that push back up above the 15 exponential moving average, it could be a potential uptrend. If we roll over and go lower and stay below the 180-day, we could be looking at a downtrend. So this is kind of a precarious situation here. It could break up or down. We don't know quite yet, but it's kind of at a little pivotal moment right now. So keep a close eye on crude oil. Maybe set some alerts, one above and one below. So you could do something like this. Create an alert and do at or above this level. And then you can create one below like this. Create a single alert. And on this one, do at or below. And then that way, you'll get alerted regardless of which direction it goes. And then you can pounce on it and make your decisions from there. So hope you guys had a green day today. Let me know what you guys traded. Let me know your thoughts on crude oil, natural gas, and gold. And I want you to comment below. Please comment and let me know why you were watching this video. Were you watching the video for gold? Were you watching it for natural gas? Or were you watching it for light sweet crude oil? So I just want to know kind of who's wanting what. And if everybody's wanting just two of the three, then maybe I'll tailor the channel to just sort of focusing on those two and leaving that third one out. But if you want all of them, I'll definitely keep all of them. And if there's another one I'm not doing breakdowns on, let me know about it, because I'd love to do some analysis on the technical charts and provide that as part of the channel as well. So, all right, hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.